Deep Threat Sports Network, welcome back. I know last week I told you guys it probably wasn't going to be very exciting, but holy smokes, were we wrong. I mean, right off the bat, we had 7 top 25 teams lose. And I mean, the number 1 team lost. Alabama lost. Our hometown favorite, I don't even know their hometown favorite anymore. Mizzou lost. I mean, people got knocked off left and right. Tennessee went down. The state of Arkansas thinks they can win the national championship now. It's insane. But guys, I mean, this is going to be wild. I'm excited to talk about it, but we're also going to hit it off first. Dog of the week. Let's just start there with the guy that created the most controversy across the country. Who do we got, Brian? Tell me who we got. Who do we got?
We're rolling with Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia. 16 for 20, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, 57 yards on the ground. Just an absolute dog, man. He was a dog when he was at New Mexico State last year, went on the road to beat Auburn while he was there. In this game, he was keeping Alabama's defense guessing, making all the plays when he needed to, third down conversions, running the ball like a strong running back. He's a leader on the sideline and while he's on the field. This was an easy pick for us, I believe. Dog of the week, Diego Pavia. And to top it off, dropped the F-bomb on the post-game interview, so that was pretty cool. Diego Pavia, dog of the week.
Hey, Vanderbilt turn, baby. Vanderbilt turn. Let's go. Hey, this was absolutely easy. This guy right here in this game was the definition of a dog of the week right here. This filled the shoes. This is exactly what we're looking for. You're absolutely right, Brian.
I mean, yeah. The stats back him up. He seems like a great leader, I mean, you hear the press conference. Yes, the cursing, could have not done it, but hey, that's just that love for the.
Hey, you gotta love it, man. The passion. You just beat the number 1 team, Alabama. That's passion.
Absolutely, and I think that's why he's gone from where he is now, to where he started. I mean, I don't know. For those of you guys that don't know much about Diego Pavia, I did a little digging. No Division I offers out of school. Like, no one wanted him. He wanted New Mexico. He wanted to go to New Mexico State. They were like, no. So he ended up going to the New Mexico Military Institute. JUCO, played there, balled out there. I mean, absolutely balled out. Over 30 touchdowns in 2 seasons. Then transferred to New Mexico State, continues to crush it there, break records there. And that is why he is now at Vanderbilt. So don't be shocked if this guy continues to impress throughout the season. I mean, he may be a guy that might get drafted this year, So very exciting stuff from Diego Pavia. We're big on him here. And I think everybody in the country is at the moment. But next thing we're going to talk about is our film session. We're going to kind of cover a couple games very quickly. Just give you like a 30-second talk about it. Because, again, there's a lot to talk about for us this week. I mean, those of you that watch college football know about it. If you don't watch college football, you probably still heard about it because it was everywhere. Right off the bat, we've got Michigan losing to Washington. I mean, we already know Michigan's not that good, but, man, they are just crushing. I mean, getting crushed. I mean, they're just tearing apart at the seams. I mean, Colin, what do you see about this? Is Michigan even worth keeping up with at this point anymore?
Well, I mean, they're kind of making the headlines for all the wrong reasons. I mean, Michigan 17, Washington 27 in this game. We talked a little bit last week about how Washington's a really tough place to go play a football game, man. This is not an easy task at hand for Michigan. They came in as underdogs, and, yeah, Washington took care of business and did the damn thing. I'm pretty confident, fellas, that Alex Orji couldn't complete a pass in practice. I mean, I am not sold that guy can ever throw a football. He is a very good runner of the football, but that's not what we're looking for at the quarterback position. So we see Sherrone Moore bench Alex Orji and put Jack Tuttle in, and the offense kind of looked somewhat better a little bit there for a minute. Donovan Edwards snapped a big one off to try to kind of make the offense look a little bit better. The Washington defense kept the running. It kept all running backs in this game under 100 yards. We talked a lot about that last week. Stop the run game. You stop Michigan. It's exactly what Washington did. They slowed it down, that is, better than most teams have along the way. And Washington took care of business. The leading receiver for Michigan had 33 yards. This is still pathetic. This is not a scary offense. I think at this point we can probably mail them in. I don't see anything big coming out from them in the long haul. One thing to note at the very end of this game, not the very, very end, but right at the fourth quarter late, Will Johnson with a massive passing interference call against him to extend the drive for Washington and kind of put a dagger on this one. That is not something that Will Johnson is known for. He is, in my opinion, one of the best defensive players in the country. He is absolutely electric, first-round potential. Washington, 429 yards of offense against this top defense. Hey, man, we're done talking about Michigan for the most part here.
Next game we're talking about, Brian, I'm going to have you talk about this one. USC at Minnesota. The Gophers take out the Trojans. I mean, USC was supposed to be a playoff team at the beginning of the year. What's going on there? How did this game play out? Talk to us.
We talked about last week how this might be an upset alert possibility for this game. USC, their offense is just struggling right now to score the football. They do have a great defense, but they're on the field a lot. In this game, Minnesota held their own, even though they got gashed on the ground by USC. But their offense did enough to keep them on top here. Their quarterback, Max Brosmer, rushed for 3 touchdowns. Darius Taylor, their running back, had 24 carries for 144 yards. And like I said, the USC's defense was on the field way too much. Miller Moss couldn't move the ball. The running game was not going, and they just struggled down the stretch and ended up losing this game. Yeah, Minnesota's a tough place to play on a Saturday, but USC was the favorite, and they should beat Minnesota 9 out of 10 times, but this didn't happen on Saturday night.
Man, we'd love to expand on all these games, but let's go ahead and hit the next one. We're going to go Syracuse, UNLV. UNLV had high hopes, and I think Syracuse just crushed it all. Colin, what did you see here? Was UNLV overrated? I mean, what's going on?
This was an absolute shootout, man. Overtime shootout. Syracuse hangs 44. UNLV comes up short with 41. Super entertaining game, especially on a Friday night. But, yeah, Syracuse kind of buried UNLV's group of 5 playoff hopes here. This probably goes ahead and wraps them up and eliminates them. Kyle McCord in this football game had 40 completions on 63 attempts. That guy is still icing his arm today. Malik Williams replacing the UNLV mid-season red shirt and Matt Saluka. He didn't look awful. I mean, he had nearly 300 total yards in this football game, so he's kind of doing his role, man. I don't want to put the blame on him. Ricky White, receiver for UNLV, was an absolute monster. But, yeah, Syracuse takes care of business here and does leg this one out at the end of the football game. We talked here last week how Fran Brown, Kyle McCord, and Syracuse needed this one. And, fellas, they took care of business.
Man, another big game that I'm going to talk about. Very good. Competitive game. And, hey, we were right from the get-go. SMU knocking off Louisville. We've been big on them on this network from the beginning. Bryant, why were we big on them?
SMU just has a bunch of playmakers on offense, and their defense is surprisingly better than what we anticipated and what a lot of people around the country thought. This is a massive win for them going on the road to Louisville, top 25 win on the road. That's hard to do no matter who you're playing. They did get gashed a little bit on defense with Tyler Shaw had 3 passing touchdowns. But from the Louisville standpoint, they just couldn't stop SMU at all. I mean, every time that Louisville answered, SMU was right back scoring touchdowns, and that was enough for them to win in the end. SMU is going to be a tough team to beat moving forward no matter who they play. So I don't think this ends Louisville's chances. I think they'll be a pretty good team down the stretch. Tyler Shaw's a good quarterback. They have a decent defense, good running game. So we'll see how they bounce back after this game. But SMU is rolling right now, undefeated.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking they might take that 12th seed, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. They got a long road ahead of them. We're only halfway into the season. But another team that's got a long road ahead of them is none other than the University of Alabama. They played Vandy over the weekend, lost 35-40, and it only gets harder for them moving forward. So that was anybody that likes any kind of sport was watching this Alabama Vanderbilt game. It was a good game. I will say it was a good game. And, you kind of always want to – you like it when the underdog has a chance to knock off that number 1 team. Big part of it, we've already talked about it, Diego Pavia. I mean, the guy – he's just good. And I wasn't super high on him earlier in the season, but the guy can make a throw. If you put some pressure, he's going to run, and he's going to find a way to find somebody somehow, some way. Don't know how he does it. You imagine we throw Diego Pavia in there with Ryan Williams?
Man, you imagine we throw Diego Pavia on Mizzou? We'll get to that later. But, hey, Vandy's a team that can beat anybody on any given day, man. We've kind of talked about that here a little bit. Like we talked about earlier on the dog of the week, Pavia is a guy that when he excels when the play falls apart and he gets out of the pocket, makes things happen, extends the play, and teams kind of when he gets out of the pocket, teams start crashing down. And what the good thing about him is he's still constantly looking down the field. He's not really looking to run the football. He is constantly eyes down the field, and when the defense crashes, it looks like Eli Stowers was there every single time for him to dunk it down to and go get the first down, man. Vanderbilt, what surprised me the most in this football game, they outcoached Alabama. They dominated this game in the trenches. They were getting a push off the ball in the run game. Fellas, it looked like Vanderbilt was the better football team all the way around. This wasn't a game where they just got lucky and won it. This was a game where they actually dominated the football game from start to finish. There was one point in time late in the second half where Alabama gets the ball back, and it looks like they may go ahead and take a lead because they held Vanderbilt to a field goal, and I think Vandy might have been up 5 at the time. And Jalen Milroe doesn't pick up a guy that's coming around in front of him, and he gets absolutely smoked, and it's a strip sack. Unbelievable performance from Clark Lee and this Vanderbilt Commodores football team, man.
Colin.
This is the biggest upset in college football history that I can remember for sure, I think.
Colin, and kind of bouncing off of, how they were always down. They were never up for a single second of that game. The whole game, they were down.
Dude, they dominated, man.
They had that pick six early that put them on top.
Yeah, man. Bama just got out coached. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and dog on Kalen DeBoer because I'm sure that guy's had a hell of a last 2-3 days already. But I mean that they just got out coached. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I don't know what you saw, Brian. I don't know what you think about this. I just think Vanderbilt looked like the better football team. Period.
No, I definitely agree with you. I don't know about you guys, but this Vandy offense kind of reminds me of the old Gus Malzahn offense where they have much emotion. They always try to hand it off to the receiver or the running back. It's like it's very deceiving for the defense to read. And when you have such a good quarterback that can run the ball like Pavia, it keeps them on their toes on defense, and they can't pinpoint exactly where the ball is on every single play. And that, I think, is an advantage for Vanderbilt. They almost have to run a style of offense like that to be competitive day in and day out in the SEC. But I agree with you. I think the biggest impact in this game was Vanderbilt was kicking Alabama's ass on offensive line and on defensive line on the other side of the ball. I mean, usually Alabama is kicking everybody else, but Vandy was just destroying them on the line. I mean, it wasn't even close. And then I think another big aspect of this game is Vandy was, 12 of 18 on third down. I mean, that's how you win football games.
You're exactly right, man. That is exactly how you win football games. And what's kind of crazy, too, is when you talk about that, Brian, I mean, if you would have told me that Vanderbilt won this football game and I didn't watch it and you guys were just telling me right now, I'd have been like, man, Alabama must have had some really bad injuries. They must have had some really bad turnovers. Vanderbilt must have got really lucky. No, there was none of that. There was absolutely none of that. I just can't say enough about this Vanderbilt football team, man. They wanted it. The fans were getting in it. And like we talked about here before, the longer these underdogs hang around in these football games, especially as the home team, the more they feel like they're having a chance to win the game. And next thing you know, it's the fourth quarter, and the better team's sitting there saying, holy shit. I mean, we are up Schitt's Creek without a paddle right now. We can't get nothing going. And what I noticed, too, in this football game is it kind of looked like Jalen Milroe was getting back to his old self. Where I felt like he made the biggest strides in the season is he was really working on his craft as a passer. We talk here a lot about how Jalen Milroe is really effective at running the football and throwing the deep passes. But, fellas, he really worked on his craft this offseason, early in this season as well, got better at the medium, the short passes. And, man, he was looking to run the ball first when they got down in this football game and the pressure started getting to him. He was snapping the ball, looking at one guy, not getting through his progressions, and just looking to take off running. And this Vanderbilt team was having absolutely none of that. They drug the goalpost. The Vanderbilt fans stormed the field. Pavia drops the F-bomb on national television. The fans dragged the goalpost under the Cumberland River, straight down Broadway in Nashville, right past all the bachelorette parties who probably have zero idea what in the hell is going on. And, man, this was awesome. What a sight. I love everything about this. This is what makes college football, and we can't say enough about this. Now, where do either one of these teams go from here? That's completely up to both of these teams. One thing I didn't like is the body language from Malachi Moore for Alabama. You could tell that the coaches are trying to get him out of the football game. He turns his back on him, doesn't come out, throwing his mouthpiece, walks up, kicks the football as the referees are downing it. I mean, it just really bad look for him. I get it, man. You have all kinds of pride. You've worked your ass off. You play at the University of Alabama. Never in a million years did you think you were going to lose to Vanderbilt. So I get all the emotions. But save that shit for the locker room, man. When you get in the locker room, start busting your teammates' heads then if that's what you want to do. But not out in the football field. Act like I was going to say act like you've been there before, but I guess they haven't. So I guess there's a first time for everything.
Colin, and to piggyback off of that, I will say out of this game, my biggest red flag is that the team itself, because you saw a lot of things, kind of like the Malachi Moore, where under the Nick Saban era, they would never think to do that. I mean, it would never cross your mind. And I don't know if you guys saw it. Last drive, as Vanderbilt is kneeling for the last drive, the defenders on the Alabama team in sync do a backflip. I mean, I would have dragged him off the field. I mean, you don't do that. Like, did you guys see that? I mean, for me, I was like,
not see that.
You just got beat as the number one team in the country, and you have the nerve to do a backflip in the middle of the game, even though I get it. They're not going to score anymore. But it's just a level of respect. And I almost want to think, like, I think Kalen DeBoer is a good football coach, but is he a good leader? Is he a good mentor? That's kind of where I'm leaning, because Alabama has all.
I don't want to put too much on it. I don't want to put too much on Kalen DeBoer. I hear you, and I get all that. It's really hard to compare Kalen DeBoer to Nick Saban, because Nick Saban would have grabbed somebody by the face mask, struck him to the locker room, and said, "Hey, you're off this football team." He's not putting up with that shit. Nick Saban didn't have to put up with that shit. He could do whatever he wanted. He had full control of this Alabama football team always. Nobody was going to step in and tell him how to do something. He just did what he wanted. Kalen DeBoer didn't have these problems at Washington. I don't recall watching any players last year being bad, locker room guys out in public. I don't recall any of that, but he is more of a player's coach. I mean, we talked about it here before. They played music at practice. Now they're a little more light. I would look for a lot of that to change moving forward after this Vanderbilt loss. By no means in a million years do I think Kalen DeBoer is now on the hot seat at all. So I don't want to go that route or anybody think I'm going that route. But I do expect the Alabama higher ups to kind of clamp down on him and be like, hey, look, tighten up the ship. There's no room for error like this. This is the biggest error we've made in years. Fix it. Don't let it happen again. On to the next one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they got to look themselves in the mirror. Sorry, Dave.
No. You're good.
I wanted to add one thing I thought that was funny. As soon as Vanderbilt kneeled the last play of the game there to win the game, they put the College Game Day interview of Nick Saban and Pat McAfee up on the video board that said, Vandy's the only place to play in the SEC that's not tough. I thought that was hilarious. They literally panned from the video board onto the field of all the students rushing. That was funny.
I did watch that. I love that.
Well, hey, that's easy for Nick Saban to say, though, when he only gave up 13 total points in all of his games against Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt scores 13 in the first quarter against Kalen DeBoer. So, I mean, I understand what Nick Saban's saying, especially when there's only about, at best, usually 25, 30,000 people at a Vanderbilt football game. But, man, they were packed in on this one, and they showed out, and they did their thing.
Absolutely. They did their thing, Colin. You talk about tearing down the goalposts, cost them $100,000. But another team that cost them some money.
Hey, real quick, that's the best $100,000 Vanderbilt has ever spent. That whoever writes those checks would write that check 10 times over to say that they beat the University of Alabama.
Absolutely. Let me tell you, another program that's got big boosters that did not mind. It wasn't $100,000. It was $250,000. Was the University of Arkansas. They knocked off Tennessee, and I'd say in style. Why not? I mean, 19-14, knock off a Tennessee team that a lot of us were very high on. So that, hey, these teams don't mind that. They probably made that in ticket sales itself. So they don't care. But what did you guys see from this Arkansas team? How did they gut this one out?
No, I thought they played really well on both sides of the ball. Nico was very subpar this game. He was missing wide open receivers. Now, Squirrel White did get injured, the wide receiver for Tennessee, early on in the game. That may have impacted a little bit of their game plan, but they were not playing with tempo like they usually do. Arkansas was stopping them on first down and forcing them to kind of reset and huddle and not speed down the field like they like to do. Dylan Sampson was the only solid part of the Tennessee offense. It was like I said, it was a bad performance by Nico. Arkansas was efficient on offense. Even when Talon Green got hurt, the backup Singleton came in and scored a touchdown. So they were playing very well coached team, but they were in Sam Pittman and Arkansas on both sides of the football, and I think that's what won this game. They didn't make hardly any mistakes.
Well, and I feel like Arkansas kind of whipped Tennessee up front, man. They pushed them around, and I also didn't see something like that happening in this football game either. I really did think Tennessee would handle their business. Hell, we had them minus 14 here on this network on our Book It segment last week, and this came as a shock to all of us. And I think what really upsets Tennessee fans and Tennessee moving forward is this would have been an absolute monumental win this weekend just because of everything else that happened in the SEC. Tennessee would be shaping up in the driver's seat, riding bitch, sitting right next to Texas, driving this thing, man. I mean, any SEC team that could have won, like Missouri or Tennessee, whatever, when a team like Alabama goes down and Georgia already has a loss in conference, and you have conference losses from your probably best two teams in the conference, man, all these teams had a chance to capitalize, and they didn't do that. So, a really big miss by Tennessee on this one. You're right, Bryant. Nico was an absolute letdown here. This was not something that I wanted to see from Nico. I thought Nico would kind of grab the horse by the reins and just ride the hell out of it throughout the rest of this season. But let's shout out Andrew Armstrong. Big day for the Hogs. 9 catches, 132 yards, making constant plays for them. And like you said, Bryant, Singleton comes in for Talon Green, and that's when I really thought, okay, Tennessee's about to take this football game over. This was a big loss for Arkansas. The air is going to fall out of the football. It's going to deflate, and Tennessee's going to take it over. And that didn't happen. They had the chance, but they just didn't do it. And that's what really upsets me. It looks like the old Sam Pittman's Hogs just kind of out-schemed them here. And never in a million years did we think Sam Pittman would even still be coaching this football team at this point, I don't think. So, hey, hats off to the Hogs, man. Here they come.
And Tennessee, I think, also has a little bit of an issue that kind of Alabama has with the leadership.
Yes.
How they carry themselves on the field during a game, no matter if they're winning or losing. I saw multiple videos of them cussing out the fans while they're on the sideline while the game's going on. While the fans are rushing the field, they're like pushing them over and shit while they're running on the field. It's like, come on, guys, get to the damn locker room.
Dude, I mean, yes, Brian, you're right. If you're going to play big boy football, know how to handle yourself, man. I mean, You're out here on national stages. You're laying fans out. You should be getting assault charges. If that was any of us three, we'd be in handcuffs after the football game for shit like that. This is pathetic, man. I'm with you. We saw this from a lot of high-caliber football teams, and it was really disappointing to see from some of these guys. We talked about Alabama's, problems a little bit. Tennessee had them. Mizzou had them. Just pitiful, man. You're in the SEC. You play in the SEC for a reason. Be a leader. Lead by example, and you didn't do that. When the going gets tough, grab your teammates by the – don't take it out on the fans. They're not playing you. They're just in your head. And if I'm in the fans and I'm realizing I'm in your head, hey, man, I'm just going to ride your ass. I mean, I can't play the level of football that you're playing, so why in the hell are you letting me bother you? I mean, if you can't handle this, good luck at the next level. So, yeah, Brian, I'm glad you bring that up because that's piss poor. It's
very petty. It's very, very petty, and I don't know why. When I see shit like that, it just ticks me off. I don't know. It's just something that bothers me.
Well, they're playing in stadiums with 100,000 people. Expect that.
Handle yourselves.
I mean, you're playing at the University of Arkansas that I think is one of those programs that in the next 5 to 10 years is going to be elite. I really do. Actually, towards the last couple minutes of the game, I was texting a buddy of mine, big Arkansas fan. So I was like, hey, man, I think Arkansas's got this. And even within a couple minutes, he still was like, man, I don't know. Like, it is Arkansas. And this is
Arkansas fans understand it just like Mizzou fans understand it. It is not over until that last whistle blows a near in the locker room. I mean, there is no over till it's over.
Absolutely. And I mean, did you guys see how many people were there? I mean, I got this picture from my buddy Spencer Shannon out in Arkansas, and I mean, you guys can't see it. You guys can't see it, but I mean, the place was slam packed. I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot of other things going on in the state of Arkansas, but I mean,
not at all.
But hey, they show up. There's plenty of other places where people just don't show up. Vanderbilt, people didn't normally don't show up.
To your point, Dave, you love to see stuff like that, man. Even when your program doesn't have the highest of expectations, like Arkansas coming into this season, hey, they still show up and show out. And whenever you're the underdog playing high level teams like Tennessee, You need your fans to show up and show out. They give you that home field advantage. Don't let the opposing team come in and take over your fan base. That good by Arkansas. Happy for them. Happy for Sam Pittman, man. I'm a Sam Pittman fan. I just don't think he's the best of coaches, but I am a fan of him, man. I love I don't know. I just love his mentality. You know, he reminds me of a guy that, you know, I would pull up to a shop out here by where I live, and we would sit back and drink a few beers together and tell some stories. So I'm a Sam Pittman fan for that reason.
I want to add one thing to this game real quick. Arkansas, their quarterback Talon Green appeared to suffer a knee injury or some sort in the third quarter. Tried to come back into play and couldn't. So that's just something to monitor moving forward, whether he's going to be available in the next few weeks or not. Just wanted to add that in real quick.
Did you guys see that hit? Because
it was gnarly.
Dude, I don't know how he came back in. I remember texting both of you, and I was like, man, that's blown ACL. I mean, he took it right on the kneecap. I was blown away that the guy came back on the football field at all, period.
Yeah. Anyway, just wanted to add that because that's something to monitor moving forward for this team.
Absolutely. We left this game for the end. I don't even know how to get into this game.
Skip.
Colin's going to have a stroke before I even say the name. I mean, I was with him during the game, and I've never watched a football game in more silence than than over the weekend. I mean, there was just not much you could say about it. Mizzou just got flat out just crushed. I mean, no, it never had a chance. Like, I don't, you know, I'm going to go ahead and throw a spoiler out there. We've got Mizzou at number 25 on our AP Top 25. I don't even know if they deserve the 25 spot. It's just nobody else deserves it above them. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, I want to get Colin going. Colin, where aside from a couple penalties that could have gone one way or the other, we never had a chance in this game. Like, what is going on with the University of Missouri? Brian, I know you're upset. You're an alumni. What's going on there? I mean, guys, what happened?
Well, I'm laughing right now only because I know Bryant's so mad he doesn't even want to talk about this football game. Like he was campaigning for us to not talk about it. But we've had so many people that are close to us here that follow us that want to hear about it. So here we go. Well, Dave, I'm gonna post my picture of me taking down my Mizzou banner outside of my house that you took as you were leaving my house right after this football game, and you talked about it a little bit. Let's get this part over with. The officiating was dog shit. I'm not going to blame this game on officiating. Yes, I feel like if a couple calls go a different direction, especially early in the football game, who knows what could happen? But when your head coach comes out before the game and talks about how they only prepared for Marcel Reed, that's unacceptable. I cannot express to you enough how unacceptable that is. We talked on this network, yes, about how we think Marcel Reed's the guy going forward. They were winning football games with him. The offense was kind of moving and clicking a little bit. So I hear what he's saying. I agree with him. I was completely blown away that Connor Wegman started this football game. But as a head coach, one, you never say that dumb shit out loud because the other team's going to get a hold of it. Two, prepare for both. Connor Wegman was QB1 in the depth chart. Mike Elko was giving you the answer of what he was doing. You just overthought it. This is why we aren't the head football coach of the University of Missouri. This is why we're talking about this shit. You prep better. Corey Batoon, you prep the defense better. This is awful. This is so bad. Look, you lose the football game, that's fine. I didn't think Mizzou was going to come in there and kick the dog shit out of them. I didn't think A&M was going to kick the dog shit out of us. But it's time to have a serious conversation about Brady Cook. I think Brady Cook's a great Mizzou football player, you know, when you look back and all the things he's brought to Missouri. But Drinkwitz is dying with Brady Cook as we speak. We had this conversation in years past. Coach, you are dying with this quarterback. I don't think Drew Pine's going to come in and absolutely throw you for 500 a game, but Drew Pine's going to hit the open receivers. You see Luther Burden get pissed off, and I'll come back to that in a second because I got a lot to say about that. You see Luther Burden and Theo Weiss and all these receivers getting pissed off. Hey, look, I would be too. They're getting open. They're getting separation. You're just not getting them the football. Your throws are late. Your throws are bad. You're not putting it on them. Anytime you throw a slant route, it's behind them. They can't catch the ball and run like we talked about last week for explosive plays because the ball's 2 yards behind them, and they got to turn and catch it, and then they get laid the hell out. But talking about Luther Burden, son, you are the leader of this football team. You guys are down 10-0 early in this game, and it looks like somebody just shot your dog. You're hanging your head on the sidelines. You look like you were truly down 100-0 in the fourth quarter. Piss poor by you. I'm happy to see your ass slide down mock drafts after this performance. I mean, this was awful. No NFL team wants to see that. You have the utmost talent in the world. We talked about it on this network, not being homers. With the ball in your hands, you were one of the most electric players in college football. Be a leader, man. Your team looks at you. When the whole team looks at you and they see you hanging your head, and speaking of that, Drinkwitz, you're down 10-0. You're taking a knee on the sidelines, hanging your head as well, head in your hands. You're the leader of young men. Be better. This is piss poor all the way around. Kirby Moore, we thought better of you. The offensive game plan that you're calling is dog shit. Nate Noel, 10 carries in this football game when he's been your best player on offense this whole season. Brian, I don't know about you. We've had a lot of bad losses as Mizzou fans. We've seen a lot of bad things from Mizzou. This was the most gut-wrenching, disappointing performance I've ever seen from the Missouri Tigers in recent years, in my opinion. This was just bad. I can't even tell you one good thing that I saw from Missouri at all. At all, man. I could go on for 6 days about how pissed off I am. This looks like an 8-4 football team again. Anytime Mizzou has expectations, they shit the bed. They are filling their boots up with shit as we speak right now because of how bad they look. I wouldn't have them on our top 25. You know, we do this as a group here, and Dave and Brian, yes, you guys convinced me. I think they have top 25 capabilities, but right now I'm mailing them in. I just don't see it. I really don't see it. 24-0 at halftime. Dave and I were sitting there like, okay, just make it a game. Don't come back. I don't expect you to come back and win. Just come back and make it a game. Get a few stops, score some points. Awful, man. It's time to bring Drew Pine off the pine. Brady Cook, 13 for 31. Jesus Christ, man.
That's so bad.
I mean, how many times did we?
Oh,
Listen,
my God.
I'm not gonna.
I almost dropped the F-bomb right there. I gotta take a breath.
Hey, can I bump in real quick?
Go ahead,
No,
Brian.
Please. I'm about to have a stroke. Please do.
Before I go on a rant, I want to give credit where credit's due. Texas A&M actually destroyed us in all facets of the game. Connor Wigman was throwing the ball all over the place. Moss at the running back position was, unstoppable, 138 yards for 3 touchdowns.
Le'Veon Moss looking like Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly. It sounded like Le'Veon Bell every time they handed him the ball. It was just 15 yards of play. Another thing that I thought was interesting, the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M is Colin Klein. He was the guy that absolutely destroyed Mizzou 2 years ago in K-State. Now he's here at Texas A&M, destroys us again. Credit to Texas A&M defense. Nick Skirton is an absolute animal. He's probably the number 2 or 3 defensive end on the big board probably at this point for the NFL teams. Absolute animal. Their defensive line and offensive line played so well in this game. So credit to them. Now, Mizzou played absolutely so bad in every facet of this game. It was just unbelievable. First, the receivers. Yeah, Brady Cook sucks, but they were not making plays. The offensive line was absolutely atrocious. Like Marcus Bryant looks like, an FCS left tackle. Caden Green, Oklahoma fans were thanking us for taking him off their hands.
Yeah, we did them a favor.
Our running backs were the only ones that actually looked half decent in this game. If I see Brady Cook run a QB draw or something off the edge ever again, I'm probably going to do something to harm myself in some way, shape, or form. He is so unathletic. It is absolutely embarrassing to watch. Now, to the defense.
Put a leash on him.
To the defense. We learned how to tackle when we're like 6 or 7 years old playing, Pop Warner football. Apparently, our team just forgot how to do that. We cannot do that whatsoever. The defense was cheese, couldn't guard anybody. We had true freshmen in a corner just to try to spark something. Linebackers were misreading the line. I mean, Texas A&M does not run a very dynamic offense. It's single back, tight end, and 3 wide. Like this is not the triple option Georgia Tech. I mean, this is
some
not
NCAA 25 football offense that we all run when we're playing online. You're exactly right.
There's so
bad. They're not mixing this shit up.
We played horrible in every aspect of the game, special teams, everything. I mean, it was just bad. I was so mad. I was so mad that I literally took a nap in the third quarter just so I had to watch the rest of it. I can't do this anymore. I'm done. It was bad.
It was painful, man. It took years off my life. I I I remember a play where A&M they dink it out right. They're running up the right side of the field, and Chuck Hicks, linebacker from Mizzou, comes across the field like he was going to make a tackle and blow it up. And I'm pretty sure he's still head down running as we speak the wrong direction. He was absolutely flat ass lost. Head wasn't up, has no idea where the play went, just completely whiffed. Brian, like you said, I feel like we learn how to tackle at such a young age. I'm teaching my kids to tackle upstairs right now better. They lay each other out in their room better than what Mizzou tackles. This was so bad. I can't say enough about it. It's an 8-4 football team, gentlemen. They don't beat Oklahoma. I don't think they beat Auburn. They definitely don't beat Alabama. I know Bama just lost to Vanderbilt, but Jesus Christ, I mean, Bama at least was competent. We had absolutely nothing. We have zero leadership. We have absolutely nothing going in the right direction. I hate to feel like I'm overreacting and feel like I'm being so negative, but the writing was on the wall. We just kept giving them more credit than what they deserved against Boston College. We gave them more credit than they deserved against Vanderbilt. And here we are. We very, very easily, what's our record? We 4-1. We could very, very easily be 2-3 football team right now. In all seriousness, we could very easily be a 2-3 football team. We had 4 games at home, thank God. And first road test here, absolutely blown up. Good luck down the stretch.
Yeah. To finish this up, I think we've ranted enough about this game, but A&M is actually a team to watch moving forward. I think they're a lot better after their week 1 loss to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
They're kind of Wigman looked amazing. Their defense is very, very good. They have everything moving in the right direction for them right now. So they're definitely a team to watch moving forward in the SEC. If you're a Mizzou Tiger on the football team right now, you got to get up, do your best to brush this off, look yourself in the mirror. Nobody absolutely cares what you think anymore. Like, it's time to bear down and work harder. And we cannot look like that on Saturday. There's too many people devoted to this team around here, monetary wise, and watching the games that come out and perform like that. It's time to figure this shit out right now. And I don't care what you think, what Drinkwitz thinks. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, man, this is bigger than the name on the back of your jersey at this point. You play UMass coming this week. Good God, man, if we don't beat them by 100, take your frustration out. I mean, poor UMass, they just happened to be on the tracks when the train's coming. Beat them by 100. They shouldn't even be on your schedule. But this is a good get-back game for you guys. Take advantage of it. Work on some things. Don't act too good and hold some shit back. At this point, lay it all out there. Practice some shit. This should be like a live scrimmage for you. Go out there. Get Burden more than 8 touches. That's killing the team as well, even though he was a piss-poor leader in this football game. But, yeah, Brian, let's talk about the positives. Like you said, Texas A&M, you're right, man. If Connor Wegman plays like this down the stretch, look out for the Texas A&M Aggies, because that defense, man, they're pretty fierce. And when they get the 12th man behind them and that place gets rocking and A&M builds more confidence and starts to believe more in themselves, this football team, they might be there at the end.
And so one of those things that I did notice from this game, and I even last week I kind of thought processing a little bit, was I truly believe that Brady Cook has some kind of injury, and I do think staff at Mizzou is aware, because if you watch him through his progressions, when he releases the football, there's a level of, I wouldn't even say discomfort, but you can tell he is restricted.
So Dave, I have something to say on this. I don't think you're wrong, but I don't want to chalk it up to an injury. I did some digging after this football game late into Saturday night. Brady Cook has not looked the same since he threw an interception over the middle this time last year. I think actually on this date last year against LSU. He threw an interception when Mizzou was up big against LSU across the middle, and we have not seen Brady Cook attack the middle of the football field since. He had 0 passes to the middle of the football field this football game. That is something that has been a reoccurring problem for him. He looks to throw it outside the numbers. Those are incredibly low percentage passes compared to the middle of the football field. I honestly do agree with you. I think there's I can see some discomfort, but I don't know if it's for an injury. I think it's because he's overthinking. I don't even think he's getting through his progressions, Dave. I think he looks at one guy, looks to tuck it and run like Brian said. And this guy runs like He's not running a 4.40. I mean, put a leash on him. I was joking when I said that earlier, but in all seriousness, when he comes back to the sideline and say, look, dude, we have playmakers on the outside, and you're not one of them. Throw them the football. Put it in their hands. You are a statue behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah, you can make a guy miss here or there. Don't run the football ever again. Don't run the football ever again. If you do, dude, the guy takes absolute hit after hit. He's getting blown up. So stay in the pocket, get it to the playmakers. You're right, Brian. Maybe this lights a fire under their ass. Turn the page, and hey, maybe at this point, go undefeated from here. Upset Bama again. I mean, that shit's not going to happen, but I'm trying to find some optimism, like you said, so we don't seem so damn negative. But my God, man, let's put it into it.
See, my only point in even bringing that up was I do think that you just throw Drew in there. Throw him in there. I mean, it can't get worse.
Yes, why not?
It can't get worse. And you know what? Go ahead and
why not?
Let him have the rest of the year to just heal if that's what's going on. Just play somebody else. He's not the option. And I think, kind of to your point, that's why all these players were frustrated. And I think it's one to get mad at the game, but when you're mad at your own teammate because he just can't give you the ball, when you depend on him to give you the ball, yeah, that sucks. Especially because you can't walk over there and be like, man, you're just garbage. I mean, you can, but
but they should though. They should though, and maybe word it different. But rather than going over there and hanging your head when you're the leader of the football team, or like Theo Weist, you wear the C on your jersey, man. Go over there, grab your quarterback, calm him down, say, hey, look, man, it's 10-0. We are fine. We are fine. Settle down. We're going to get back. Don't worry about what the defense is doing. That's out of your control. But when you get back on the field as the offense, you're the quarterback, you're the leader. Get points. Go get points. If you go get points, it knocks Texas A&M back a little bit. They had that momentum and never lost it. That's why they just kept scoring. We never stopped them.
Well, we did score. I mean, Luther Burden had that long touchdown, and then, of course, penalties again.
That was a bullshit call. That was ticky-tacky as hell. I'm with you, Brian.
But still, I mean, we have so many penalties this year. It's unbelievable. We got to be leading the nation in penalties. I mean, every play we have is horrible. And it's every time we make a big play, here comes the flag. I'm done talking about this shit.
I'm with you. Hey, Dave, wrap this shit up. I'm pissed off for the week again.
On that note, we're gonna wrap it up. Colin, I'm sure. Hey, Colin, you may have to get a medical evaluation after this. I know your wife's a nurse. Have her check you out. Check your pulse. But that wraps it up for us on this episode of Deep Threat Sports Network. It was a lot of fun. We wanted to talk to you guys about it. We covered a lot of games. But as always, thank you all of you guys that continue to stick with us, watch our videos, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Spotify, or keep with us on that, keep up with us on X, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Keep staying with us. We appreciate all of you guys that always constantly share, comment. But again, we're going to keep going. Keep giving us feedback. I know we have received a lot of good feedback from people, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear it regardless. But me, Brian, and Colin are all stoked to do this. We love doing this. And be on the lookout later in the week for another episode. We're going to talk about our Heisman. We're going to talk about top 25. The Heisman one, I think, is you guys love hearing about it. And I'm going to go ahead and give out a spoiler. We're all not in agreement with our number one. So be on the lookout for that. I know a lot of you guys like that. A lot of you guys like to hear our top 25 because it is very different than an AP. But just from that, I'm just going to send it off to Colin and see if he's got anything to say before he loses any more oxygen there.
Yeah, fellas, man. This was a really exciting weekend of college football, and that's why we cover this sport, man. This was a ton of fun. Even though we see our team go down, that doesn't knock us on our heels, man. It's no sweat off our back. We love the game of college football, and that's what we're going to keep bringing to you. Steady facts, steady fun information. Dave doing a great job as host, Brian. I love doing this with you. I think Dave just fell off his seat live. That's awesome. We will not cut that out. That will stay on the show. So if you were on Spotify, go to YouTube just to watch Dave bust ass. That's awesome. But hey, yeah, find us on X at DT_sports_, Facebook, Deep Threat Sports Network, TikTok, Deep Threat Sports Network, Instagram, Deep Threat Sports with a Z, YouTube, Deep Threat Sports. Fellas, this is awesome. Hey, we got another great week of college football coming up this week. This game's top 25 matchup heavy. Cannot wait to get down to that. But like Dave said, we have a Heisman episode coming to you before that, top 25 on that episode as well. And we got a little surprise for you in that one. Hey, make sure you stay tuned, pay attention. We got some fun, exciting stuff in that episode. Probably a lot of banter going on because we're not going to see eye to eye on some of the things that we're going to talk about. So, hey, fellas, once again, that's Dave. That's Bryant. Until next time, gentlemen, peace.